Hello everyone and welcome. In this video, we're going to take a look at the Sparkline function. In this, we're just going to show a couple of the options. How I had this set up is I have a Google Finance for a specific ticker, which in this case is Google. So it'll show what the price is each of those days. And so this should show, since it's price, what it ended the day at, not the high or the low of it. You can of course change that, and if you want to make this more complex, you could have it be the price. You could have it automatically, or you can choose the low or the high, things like that. So there's a lot you can do with Google Finance. I'm just going to keep it to this for now, and then have this data, which will pull essentially for this year. So as you watch this, depending on what the day is, it'll continue to increase. What we're going to work on is the Sparkline to kind of show some different things. For this one, I have it set to do this Google Finance of the close date. So this is going to be my data, and it is all of this numbers here, and that's how we get the chart into it. Then what you need to do for options is you always need to have these brackets, and essentially what you do is you'll have what the type is and then what you're going to use it for. And you can have multiple different things. So like right now, this is chart type line. If you're adding another component to it, so another option, then typically it'll be a semicolon, and then you can add what the next one is. So in this example, they have chart type bar. The next option, max, is at 50. So I'm just going to leave it like this for now, hit enter, and you can see here in this cell that is merged, so it's a little bit bigger and easier to see. You can see these numbers are going, and it kind of goes up to probably halfway somewhere here and then kind of dips down. So you can see these numbers are increasing, and then they dip down here to the 160, which is where we're at today. That's just a nice way to be able to show what's out there in these. Now, the other things you can do, like I mentioned, is you could add something like color, and then let's say you want it green. Hit enter, and now that line color has changed to green. If you're looking or wanting to know what the options are out there, you can push the learn more here, and the help sidebar option will kind of pop up, and you can see there are lots of options. There are certain things like this where you can set different minimum values, maximum values, color, what you want the empties to be, and so on. There's a lot of different options here. I'm not going to cover all of these just because it would be way longer. However, I wanted to at least show you the basics there. Another option you could do if you're making something like this is you could actually set the max and the min. So let's take a look at this one. And this is called a win-loss. And so what you can do with a win-loss is it's just going to show, did it go above or below something? Is a win or a loss? And we're using the close date. And so what we want to do with this is show when it is a win and a loss, different colors. And then how I kind of have this set so it only shows the max and the min is that I actually change the color of the defaults to white, which matches what's in that cell. So what this is going to actually do is it's going to provide each one of those with a color, and then the only colors that you'll see will be the low color, which will be red, the lowest, and then the high color, green. So if I hit enter, you can see here, this is where it's highest, and right here is the very lowest. And if I change the cell to like black, you can see all of those other ones that are there are all of the other instances just in the color white. And that's what I did to make it look like it's only those two. Alternatively too, you could move these down and copy this, paste it in here. Maybe you want on the top to just show the green, and then you could remove this low color red, hit enter, and now the green is going to show up there. And then we could remove high color green, and then that'll show it down there. So you could then show the max up here, min down there. I'll just capitalize, why not? So again, lots of different ways. This is just kind of one of the ways to get somewhat creative with the coloring to make it look the way that you want it to look. One other thing that I wanted to show that, again, is already made there is a Sparkline column chart. Now, this isn't as helpful as the line. It takes up more space too, but might be something you consider depending on certain data. So let's just go through and read this. If there's nothing there, it's going to be blank. And that's so I can pull this down through this table. For C3, that's going to be our value in this. And then the chart type is going to be a bar chart. That's going to show in the entire cell there. So if I just push enter, this is the bar. And that is showing this 190 out of the max being the max in this, which is 207. 190 is fairly close to 207. And then I have the color green. So I'm going to hit enter. And if you pull this down, you can somewhat see the changes here, where it's getting up higher, and then it's going down lower. And it can kind of help show what's going on with this trend, like when is the highest part and then the lowest. Now, one thing to keep in mind, the smaller this is, the less readable it is. You can somewhat tell, but it's so minor, it's kind of hard. So the larger you get, it's there. Again, this one isn't really the most practical with it, but figured I'd show it just so that you're aware of some things you can do with it. It can look nicer to visually show that. This would be a time inserting a chart would probably be better. Here, I didn't put it as a drop-down, but you could easily do that in this to switch it. But we could search instead of Google for tickers. You can switch it to, I think this is Apple. And you can see that all of this changes the data and shows here's the high, here's the low, and reflects over on here. So you can feel free to play around with that. If you Google search different tickers, you can do that and be able to use this as kind of a basic one to get started and continue to, learn more on Google Finances or Sparklines or both and get more. This is all that we're going to do with Sparklines. There's a lot that you can cover in it, as well as Google Finance. I just wanted to kind of show the basics and would definitely encourage you to go on to Google, go on to their support articles, other videos to learn more about Sparklines if that's something that you want more information in. Hopefully you find this helpful. Make sure to do those social things like share, subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions or want to know more. We'll see you in the next one. Bye now.